Rolleicord is a great camera, nice lenses, very inexpensive usually. This is going to cover the early Rolleicords, the 1s and the 2s. And I have a 2 and a 2A here to show you. And the 1 is very similar. The way you take an exposure with a Rolleicord is you cock the shutter by pushing it this direction, and you release the shutter by pushing it this direction. And I like to hold it with both hands if possible and pull that very smoothly and try to get a nice release. After you get used to it, it's pretty easy to get a nice smooth release. Now, after you've taken an exposure, push this button to release the knob so that it'll turn free, and you turn until the number 2 comes up and it should stop. If it wants to go past the number and not stop, you can just stop with the number centered in that hole as best you can, and you'll be able to shoot the roll. Your spacing won't be as perfect, but you can do it that way. That's more or less the way the Rolleicord 1 does. It does not keep track of whether you've taken a picture or not. There's no double exposure prevention. Your settings are these 2 levers on almost all Rolleicords. You get into the later ones, they have some interlocks and stuff. And this is the less expensive model, which is like some of the earlier ones. This is a 2X. In some ways, I like it better. Instead of the levers, you have the bare shutter here, which is the same as the shutter under here. They just put a housing over this, a cover over this, and then had to make levers to operate it. This, you are just directly working the shutter as you would on a view camera or a speed graphic. I like it just at least as well. These levers are almost always smashed in a little bit. It is on this one. I'm afraid to straighten it too much and risk breaking it. You just set your shutter speed here by turning this outer ring, and you set your aperture with this little lever here. Release is the same, the loading's the same, and the focus is the same. With the exception, these early ones have a little release here to release the hood, both these cameras. And the magnifier on this Model 2 flips up from here. It's a little different on every model. And it's a little magnifier. And this one has a small magnifier, maybe even smaller, but it flips up from behind and snaps in there. I kind of like this better because it masks off the light, blocks off the light getting into your viewfinder, and makes it a little easier to see, I think. But they're both fine. Very common modification of these cameras is a brighter screen. The original screens are ground glass. They focus very nicely, very crisply, but they're not very bright. And as any ground glass screen, the light, it will get dimmer as you go to the edges. And there are Fresnel screens you can add boost of brightness to the edges. But on these early cameras, that will require readjusting the focus. So you might as well just put a brighter screen in that will incorporate that Fresnel lens and solve that issue. But when you do, you will almost always in my experience, have to readjust the focus of the viewing lens. And you can do that by shimming, or the proper way is to remove all of this. And there's a little set screw there, and you can screw this in and out until the focus matches at infinity with your taking lens. I see viewing screens, well, I've purchased viewing screens that say you don't need to adjust the focus, but it has not been true in my case. It's a job that's best done by a professional, but you can do it at home. There should be plenty of videos showing you how to do it. I've got a video up where I put a brighter screen in one of these cameras, and I'll show you the picture from that. The difference is quite significant. This camera, the less expensive 2A, does have a sports finder, which can be handy. You just look through the hole and gives you a rough idea, so that you can use it at eye level, and you can follow action without being reversed. But the way most of us use these cameras most of the time is with the waist level finder looking down on the ground glass. It's a lot of the charm of these cameras. It's like looking at a little little picture there. It gives you a lower view, which very often is nice. If you need a higher view with this camera, it has a mirror system here. Magnifier has to be down because you're looking through it, and that will flip up. And you can focus at eye level, but it is dim. And this mirror is very, very challenging to replace. So it wasn't a great system when it was new, and it's not particularly practical now. But that's how this works. No open sports finder, direct view. But most of us are using this anyway, so this is fine. I use the magnifier to focus. I use my glasses. You just got to figure out how your vision works best with it. If you can see the screen clearly, that's what matters. Just turn this until you get the image sharp, and you can pop the magnifier down and compose on the ground glass. And you can do it down here, or you can even point it to the side and look like you're taking a picture that way and be shoot here. And that was very common when you look at pictures by Vivian Maier and others. You try to look and see what they were doing, and a lot of things they captured were enabled by either this low angle view or a right angle view. You can even shoot an overhead view, which I do in a video I'll link to. So we set our f-stop and shutter speed according to your light meter or your light meter app in your phone, or to your experience, which is what I do. It's not hard. One warning on these cameras with a ComPure shutter as opposed to a ComPure rapid shutter, your maximum speed is a 300th or slower. I think some might be a 250th. And it's stiff putting it up to a 300th. But if you want to use 1/300th of a second, you have to set it before you cock the shutter. That booster spring is just too firm. You can damage things if you try to force it in there with the shutter cocked. The tension's much higher. Now that's not a problem with the Rolleicord, because you don't have to cock the shutter until you're ready to shoot. With a rolleiflex, when you wind the film, it automatically cocks the shutter, at least on all the later ones, from this time on. Most of us wind the film as soon as we shoot the picture, and the shutter's cocked, and then you cannot make that decision anymore. So that way, this is a little handier. Now you can cock the shutter, compose your picture, you've already focused, and make your exposure. Push your button, wind the film on, and you do that for your 12 shots. After the last shot, you'll just wind off, and you can just wind until you've wound the paper backing onto the top spool. You'll kind of hear it and feel it. As you get it, your first time you may be a little unsure, it doesn't hurt to wind it too far. And then you can open the back, take your film out, and your empty spool will be on the bottom. You'll move it to the top, put your film in, and ready to go again. I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Please click the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.